The village of Howth is located on the north side of Howth Peninsula. It's an important fishing port, but also what it's very well known for is its fantastic selection of seafood restaurants. The area has a fascinating history, and I'm on my way to meet someone who's going to tell me a little bit about it.
We're standing at the end of the West Pier, which probably has most of the activity. So if you look down here, the West Pier has all of the fishing fleet moored at this side, and we also have some of our finest seafood restaurants located here as well. Over there on the East Pier, it's a bit more of a beautiful walk along the East Pier down to this beautiful lighthouse, which was created in 1817. I'd like to take you to one of my favourite places where we're going to sample some food, and there's a good bit of historical element to this place as well.
Looking forward to it.
Good man, Mark. I said to you before that the Vikings had invaded Ireland and they had stayed in power in Howth for a couple of hundred years. But they were actually defeated by the Anglo-Normans in 1177, what was called the Battle of the Evora Stream. Lots of Viking blood got shed, ran into the stream, and was renamed the Bloody Stream. And that's the place that we're sitting at right now. One of my most popular experiences would be a craft beer and seafood tour. And the place that I start at is this beautiful location. One, it has the great history of Howth. Plus, it has some of the best selection of seafood, as you can see in front of you just here. And we also have one of my favourite craft beers from the local area.
This is it here?
Yes. So it's a brand called Hope, and it's 4 guys who decided to open their own distillery 3 kilometres from this area. This one's actually wheat beer, and it's citrusy. So if you actually look at the back of the bottle, you'll see that it's actually paired with seafood.
It says that, yeah, seafood and cheese.
It's very unusual you'll actually get beers paired with stuff. It's usually wines, but these guys have said, look, we're in an area where there's a lot of seafood. We're going to make a beer specifically to go with seafood.
Now, talk to me about this amazing food. Such a display.
Everything, again, is local. It's from the Irish Sea. Probably one of the most famous things in Howth is called the Dublin Bay prawn. In other parts of the world, it's called the Norway lobster, because let's face it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in France, the langoustine too, isn't it?
Yes, because it looks like a little mini lobster. It's cooked in garlic butter, sweet chilli, lemon.
So we have our crab claws, or toes as they're called now, isn't that right?
Yes, crab claws. They're kind of the delicacy these days. I'm a big fan of the crab claws.
Lemongrass in there.
Yep.
Chili like Thai. Oh, that's delicious.
Yes, it's really, really well done.
It's sweet and it's gorgeous.
And it's brown crab.
Yeah.
So again, it's caught on the day boats that go around Howth, the ones that would be out, empty the pots with the lobsters and then come back during the day as well. Calamari.
Do you know, my twins are 9 and they love this, but when I was 9, I thought these were onion rings. So this is some local calamari.
Yes, this is some local calamari. The chef in here obviously makes his own batter that goes around it, and then they're deep fried.
Delicious.
Yeah, lovely. These are fish cakes. It's a mixture of fish. Yeah. So there's going to be some smoked collie, some smoked salmon, some white fish as well, and mash, some herbs and cream as well. But they're very, very tasty.
You're a chef too, as well as a tour guide and historian. And then we have our prawn, a little tempura.
Yeah, the tiger prawns.
So there's a great kind of showcase of local seafood,
Yeah.
you know, and part of the tour they come here and other premises too.
I like to give you a variety of the local craft beers and a variety of the seafood.
We finish this off now?
I think we will, yes, for sure.
We'll be here for a while.
Yes, we might be.
One of the places Mark takes people on his seafood and local beer tours is the Oar House, known in particular for serving Dublin Bay prawns.
These prawns came in this morning. There's a triangle between the Isle of Man, the mountains of Mourne and Howth, and we get a lot of prawns from that area. The first one we're going to do is a prawn cocktail, and then I have some prawns split in half. We're going to cook in garlic butter in the shell, and then we're going to do scampi. But I have some fresh prawns here. Poached them for about 2 minutes, so and I cooked them in the shell. The trick is not to let them boil.
Okay, well, I'll give you a hand. So you have mayonnaise here, regular mayonnaise.
So if you could put 3 spoons of tomato ketchup.
Okay. All right. Now, what's
and
next?
A tiny dash of the Worcester sauce. I think the Worcester sauce really brings it up a bit. And a little bit of brandy, or you can use sherry. And a tiny bit of Tabasco.
Tabasco. So this gives a lovely spiciness.
Gives it a bit of a kick.
Yeah. Say when.
That's it. Whisk it all up. If it's too thick, you can add a tiny bit of water.
But there's a nice story behind the sauce, isn't there?
Yeah, it came from a ship, a British warship called the Mary Rose. They changed the name Mary to Mary to make it sound more French. So that's according to rumour.
It's a good one. Okay, sauce done, beautiful prawns cooked.
lettuce into the...
So any particular just kind of iceberg, nothing too strong?
Preferably iceberg. And then I'll put the prawns in here.
And how many would you serve now?
I suppose about 8 or 9. And then what I do is I just put the Mary Rose sauce on top.
So you wouldn't want to use like a rocket salad or like radicchio because it's too strong.
It's too strong. For decoration, I just put a bit of paprika, parsley. I have some lemon there behind you.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Here we go. And the lemon, of course, cuts through the richness of the sauce.
Yeah.
A little bit of tomato. Lovely.
There you go. That's a good starter.
That's a good, well said, well said.
The next dish we're going to do is scampi. Take the heads off, peel the prawn, I break it in the middle, and I sort of shimmy it off a bit. There is a vein here, so sometimes it comes out. If not, you just pull it out. Put the prawn into plain milk, or you could use buttermilk.
Do you do anything with the heads? Because a lot of flavour.
We save the heads and we make prawn sauce and prawn bisque.
Beautiful.
Very similar stuff.
A lot of flavour in that, isn't there?
Oh yeah, we wouldn't waste it.
John, I see you sell them in the shop here. You have a beautiful display of fish here.
Yeah, a lot of prawns came in this morning, a lot of fish. It'll all be gone by this afternoon, so it's pretty good. Take the prawns out of the milk, dredge them into the flour. It has to be self-raising flour.
Yeah, because the raisin agent, so you get crispier.
Yeah, so there's no point putting eggs or anything else in. I shake them off a bit, then I'm going to give them 1 minute in very hot oil.
Lovely. The vegetable oil, is it, or does it matter?
It's just vegetable oil.
Yeah, lovely.
I prefer sunflower oil. The oil is up full blast. It takes 1 minute, once they're not too big. A lot of the prawns from here go to places like Italy, Paris, London, Spain. They're also called Norwegian lobsters.
Oh, they look great.
The only thing I'd add now would be a little bit of salt. I've got tartar sauce here, which we made earlier on.
Gorgeous. And what do you put into that?
Mayonnaise,
that is.
capers, parsley, and gherkins.
They're so good. Now, one more dish to show me. What is it?
I'm going to cook prawns in garlic butter. I'm going to do them on a pan, but you could do them in the oven or under a grill. They only take a couple of minutes. So what I do is I cut the prawn down the middle. You could leave them whole, but I like to break them in half. There's just a bit of membrane there, or a vein I want out, so you can do it in water. The flavour stays in the shells.
That's gorgeous. The smell of them, John, absolutely. Look at that. I just love how simply you cook them. Just cut them in half, garlic butter, and that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, plenty of garlic butter.
Look at how easy that comes out.
Where would you get it?
I just think the flavour of these prawns, the way you've cooked them, first of all, with the garlic butter, the scampi, the prawn cocktail.
Thank you very much, Neven.
It's been an absolute pleasure. There's so much seafood on offer here in Howth, but one of the newest places is the Man Street food truck, owned by Dan Howell. What an array of ingredients.
Yeah, we're pushing out all the stops for you today.
You have an amazing reputation. Tell me about Man Street Kitchen.
Man Street Kitchen is my little restaurant on wheels, and we do a lot of private events, corporate catering, Friday night takeaway menu, and then another menu at a local farmer's market on a Saturday.
You've got an amazing menu. I'm looking at it. You have the pork, you have the pastrami sandwich, you know, the beef cheek.
Yeah, we're trying to start the best pastrami in Dublin kind of hashtag, so we've got a few dedicated fans devoted to that, you know.
Now, I'm here in Howth and it's all about seafood, so what are you going to make for me today?
Today we've got a couple of dishes. We're going to do a Balinese haddock and a mustard masala hake dish.
This looks like a great selection of ingredients. What have you got here?
This is going to be for the Balinese spice pastes. Shallots, peppercorns, sesame seeds, palm sugar, garlic, lemongrass, galangal and ginger. Got all these raw ingredients that I'm going to start putting into the food processor.
So your onion first.
Yeah, onions, peppercorns, sesame seeds, a couple of teaspoons.
And they're toasted?
Yeah, toasted just to extract all the oils. A couple of garlic cloves in here as well.
Where does this inspiration come from, all the unusual spices and that?
Huge fan of Japanese cooking, Asian food. I really like strong, zesty flavours that give you a good punch in the mouth, you know?
You have chilli there, garlic, fantastic. What is this here now?
So here we have fresh turmeric.
I've never seen it so big.
No, very lucky in the ones that we found today. So we will dice that nice and small.
So what are you grating in there? Is that the palm sugar?
So this is the palm sugar. As you can see, it comes off nice and easy. Rough teaspoon we want in here. So we'll take a bit of the turmeric.
Yeah. So where do you get the fresh turmeric?
So I'm lucky enough to have a choice of 4 or 5 different Asian shops around me here in Dublin.
That's a great little tip, removing the skin with the spoon.
Yeah, it's just a great way to, instead of trying to get a peeler in there. So we'll just get a couple of lemongrass in here, work your way round, get to the soft inner core of it. These outside ones are so fibrous. They're not actually the bits that you want to use.
What's your background as a chef?
I've been a chef for about 15 years. New Zealand, France, England, Ireland. I was sous chef for Rick Stein for a wee bit back home in England.
So you chop your lemongrass.
We'll do a little bit of ginger.
You have really big punchy flavours in this, haven't you?
Yeah. Blitz this all into a smooth paste. I do have a finished one here for you to have a look at the texture and the consistency of it.
And how long would this paste keep for?
In the fridge, it'll probably be all right for a week. Good for a couple of months in a freezer, I'd say.
Like, you've so many fresh products in this paste. Like,
It smells amazing, doesn't
people
it?
don't realise the amount of work that goes into a spoonful of paste.
It makes a huge difference, doesn't it, when you make it at home yourself?
So that's our first paste ready. What's the next one?
Next one we'll work on is the mustard masala for the hake. Some lovely mustard oil. It's a huge flavour. I'm going to warm a bit up here.
You're doing it on your wee barbecue. What's the proper name for this?
Hibachi barbecue. Yeah, this I carried it onto the airplane and then back from Japan.
And I'd say you don't see many of these on food trucks.
No, you don't. So if you see it catching on shortly, you know where the idea came from. Yeah.
So some onion?
Yeah, already sliced up. That's just one whole white onion in there. Let that simmer off in the mustard oil. We'll add a clove or two of garlic to it as well. So that's our onions and garlics cooking away there in the mustard oil. Once those onions have cooked out and become nice and soft, we'll add mustard seeds, a few curry leaves, chopped up chilies as well, and then we'll blitz that into a fine paste, much like the Balinese.
Very different though in colour, isn't it?
Yeah, huge different colour. That's all the black mustard seeds that would be in there.
So really for these two fish dishes, it's all about the paste and how you cook them, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're getting a lovely consistency on the pastes. Some fresh banana leaves. You do need to heat these slightly to make them a bit more pliable.
And what's the idea behind cooking the fish in the banana leaf?
For the takeaway we were doing, we just wanted the fish to be able to be transported easily and still stay nice and warm.
Yeah.
And there's a great flavour off it, there's a great smell off of it. Steaming it as such and all the juices as well. So I'm just going to lay one of these on here and you'll see it will kind of take on more of a shiny texture once we get some heat into it. You can do it without heating them, but you'll find it will crack and then all the juices will run out. The hake on that one.
Okay.
I do keep the skin on, so you only really need a teaspoon or so over the top of this. Hope you're hungry.
Oh yeah, especially when someone else is cooking.
And then we're just going to wrap it up. And then, because it's nice and soft, we'll literally fold the ends over. And that's it.
And that's it. That's your wee parcel of hake.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Haddock with the Balinese. Again, just a teaspoon. You don't want the texture to take over too much. It tastes absolutely fantastic. Roll it over a couple of times. And then the ends, you can use a toothpicks to hold the banana leaf in place, but if you don't need to, then why would you, you know? There we go.
So how do you cook it now when they're ready?
We've got the ceramic barbecue on the end here, about 200 degrees, indirect heat, so we're going to cook that over the charcoal.
We're going to do that?
Yeah, let's go.
Good man. Look at this. I mean, how cool is this?
Your happy barbecue. Fish on in the middle, cooking indirect heat. Got a little deflector plate in there.
Yeah, I see that.
It's all lumpwood charcoal underneath there. And we'll let that cook away for about 8 to 10 minutes. In the banana leaf, obviously, the fish is going to be cooking in its own juices. The spice pastes are going to be melting into the fish. All the moisture is going to stay in there because it's nice and sealed.
Can't wait to
it
taste
all
it.
pays off in the end.
Good man.
Put them on the hibachi here to get the aroma of these banana leaves going, just to sear them off a bit. And then I've got a little pineapple salsa here, quite a good accompaniment with the two dishes. Pineapple, cucumber, and shallot chili, all diced up nice and finely. Coriander, poppy seeds, fish sauce, and sugar.
A lot of chopping in that. I love it.
Yeah. Years of practice.
So good.
So we'll slip these on the board here.
It's so different. The food you're doing is just unbelievable.
Scissors.
Look at that. It's moist.
So that,
It's the hake.
yep.
Can I taste this first?
Yeah,
then?
of course you can.
Flakes away. Look at how moist that is. And which is your favourite now? You know, or am I putting you on the spot?
I'm a firm favourite of the hake. The depth of the mustard to it is a winner.
The fish is lovely and soft and moist, and the spices. It's beautiful food. Congratulations and
Thank you very much. I'm glad you've enjoyed it.
My last destination in Howth is Aqua, located at the end of the West Pier, and offering diners not only great food, but spectacular views. Mark, this looks absolutely stunning, so it does, the whole display, but look at that for a view.
To be able to see where the produce comes from, like, you know, we have the lobster pots just outside the window. It's a very unique setting.
And this looks gorgeous.
This is the bisque. And what we've done is we've very simply made off a stock by cooking out the vegetable base, which is the onion, the carrot, the leek, the celery. You've roasted the crab goes into it, and we cover that with a fish stock base, which is what we've made. We're trying to build layers of flavour here.
Stunning.
And with that, we then bring it up to a very gentle simmer, and we'll cook it out gently for an hour and a half. Then we'll strain it, and then we'll reduce it. Now, at that stage, traditionally what would happen with a bisque is you would thicken it with a roux. Here we don't do that. I prefer to have a lighter approach to my food. Its thickness comes through reduction. So this is probably reduced to half the quantity of what it would have been originally to maximise flavour even more. Maximises the aroma of it or maximises the colour of it. So you're really extracting as much flavour as you can from the product.
What variety of crab do you use to make the bisque?
For the bisque, I use velvet crab.
Because it doesn't have much meat in it, it doesn't...
No, that's what allows you to extract the flavour. You get more then, because you haven't taken the meat out of it, you're utilising all of the crab. And we roast it off to maximise the flavour as well.
I'm looking through your menu, and it looks really, really interesting. Of course, fish is the highlight of the menu. I see on the main course, you have your lobster, your sole, and something I haven't seen before, small, medium and large, you've them created.
It makes it easier for the customer. Rather than being uncomfortable to ask what size, what weight, it's very standardised, it's very clear, it's a lot easier for them to request. And it's one of our most popular items on the menu, the Dover sole.
And talking about popular items, this is so impressive.
Everything there is native, our lobster, our cockles, our clams, our oysters, our mussels, our brown local crab. We have the shrimp, smoked salmon, which is smoked on the pier here in Howth as well. Everything is close and is native
and
to
how
here.
do you cook these here now?
Nothing difficult. Very simply steam them. We steam them individually because they're all different sizes. Very quick. There's no need to overcomplicate fish. We have two types of what are referred to as crayfish. We have freshwater crayfish, which is caught up in the loch just further up from us. And then we have something very unique, which I wanted to show you, which is the native Atlantic crayfish. Some people refer to this as a spiny lobster. Very similar to lobster itself, but much more flavoursome, I think. And if you can come across it, I certainly encourage people to try it. It's not so often seen on menus, and to think that it's actually native to our waters, it's a pity not to see it more often. I've done this so you can see it better. This is the tail of the lobster, and then this would be the tail of the crayfish, with the lobster much more predominant in this red. It's paler in the crayfish, but the crayfish is, as you can see, it extends a lot further up the body of the animal. You'll find that the crayfish is much more firmer in texture, and it's also more sweeter. You can try it.
How have you cooked this now?
Very simply, it's come from the seawater. We cook it in very salted water. So you're trying to get retention of flavour there. If you put the salt in water as well, it works as an astringent. It keeps the flesh nice and firm as well.
It's delicious.
Different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's not there all the time, it's quite a seasonal thing. The tower, the fruit de mer that we have, we do this predominantly throughout the summer. It's served cold, so it's more suitable to the warmer weather. And then the crayfish is more seasonal. It comes on in the summer, so it's nice to be able to serve it like that.
Thanks for your time.
You're
and
welcome.
The bisque is absolutely superb.
Thank you, Neven.
This is a really quick, simple and tasty recipe for whiting, which is plentiful, good value, and I think it's definitely underused. So what I'm going to do is show you how to make a nice little coating, like a goujon, with really lovely spiced breadcrumbs, lovely oriental salad, and a really delicious dressing. So the first thing I need to do is to make the dressing, which is very, very simple. So I'm just going to get my bowl, put in some toasted sesame oil, 3 of those. About 1 white wine vinegar, or you can use rice wine vinegar, it doesn't matter. That's going to go in there. Into that, to give a little bit of a kick, put in some sweet chili sauce, and then we're going to put in some soya sauce. Ketchup mayonnaise. This is a beautiful sweet soya sauce. So see how thick that is, great in stir fries and marinades. So that's going to go in there. Some sesame seeds. And then put in a little bit of lime juice and some zest. Great. Some of the lime in here. So it's a really punchy, full-on flavour dressing. And this will work well with lots of different fish. Put the juice of half a lime in. Lovely and juicy, these limes. Next thing is some root ginger. Chop it really, really thinly. So I've just peeled the root ginger and then cut them into thin little strips. And then turn them around. Cut them as fine as you can. Now you can grate it. You want a nice burst of the flavour from the ginger coming through in the dressing. Lift it up. Lots of beautiful flavour there. Tiny little pinch of salt and some black pepper, and that's a dressing made. It's as easy as that. So you're going to get that lovely, fragrant, just flavours. So that's the first stage of the recipe. Next, for our oriental salad, we're using some radish, we're using some carrots, and a little bit of red onion. Now, we tip with your red onion, if you want it super crispy, what you can do is soak it in iced water. So just break that all up. The carrot, so about half the carrot is fine. Layer it up and again cut into thin strips. So we call this julienne. Nice thin strips. And that's going to go into the bowl there. Try and get them as even as possible. But that's all about practice and a good knife. Radishes, slice them nice and thin, and they're going to give lovely crunchiness. You can use a radish called a mulli radish, which is a long radish, and they use it a lot in Chinese cooking if you want to. And then that goes into the bowl. A couple of spoonfuls of the dressing, and then just combine it all together. Now, if you can, leave this for 30 to 40 minutes and the flavour will definitely improve. You don't want to leave it overnight because it'll get kind of soft and soggy. You want it crunchy, fresh and fragrant. A little bit of fresh coriander and just combine that. So coriander is a great herb to use in this. So that's a lovely little salad. Now we're going to make our spiced flour for our whiting. Plain flour, put in some more sesame seeds, teaspoonful of chilli powder, 2 teaspoonfuls of mild curry powder, a little touch of white pepper, roughly about 1/4 teaspoonful. With your spoon, mix that all together. Now I'm doing it in a tray like this, but you can do it in a bag, shake it all together so you can. So that's our spiced flour. And then for our whiting, all I've done is to remove the skin and cut it roughly about the size of your index finger. So you get 4 of them from the actual fillet of whiting. 3 egg whites, put 100 ml of cream, blend that together, and then you put your whiting in here. So that's it there. So I've left this for about half an hour. It's going to help the spice flour mix stick to the whiting. Keep one hand just for the wet mixture, one hand for the dry mixture, and just gently, with the back of your hand, press that. Shake it off, put it onto a plate. So that's my whiting ready, so I'm going to deep fry it. Just have a little fryer of oil. It's heated at 190. Carefully place them in there. You can hear that nice sizzle. So I think 3 will probably be enough. Now normally there's a beautiful view of Ballycotton Lighthouse, but unfortunately the mist has come in here, but we're cooking outside, so there's nothing nicer than that. These will take roughly a minute or 2. The fryer, I think, is the best way to cook them. If you don't have one of these, you can simply bake them off in the oven at 190 on some parchment paper, which is non-stick silicone paper, and they'll take about 10 to 12 minutes. So that's them ready, and then onto some kitchen paper. They are fragile, so just be careful lifting them out. And you can see that lovely colour on the curry powder, the turmeric. I just think these are so tasty. Now, we're ready to serve up. Arrange our lovely little whiting, crispy fried, and then our salad. The carrot, the radish, a little bit of red onion. Spoon that all over. Now you can do these lovely crispy whiting with some lemon mayonnaise. So you get some mayonnaise, a little bit of lemon zest, lemon juice. Works really well. And then a little bit of salad. These are some beautiful fresh salads just from our garden in Macneen House. Little bit of edible flour, violas, and then some micro coriander. So micro coriander is these tiny little shoots of coriander. You think of it, we have coriander in the dressing, in the little salad, and then just to garnish it. And there we go. It's simple, it's delicious. That's my crispy fried whiting with the oriental salad and sesame seed dressing.